This morning at approximately 9:30 a.m. we had a call to the Sheriff's Office regarding a discovery that was made by an Orange County meter employee who had gone into the woods. A bag was found there and skeletal remains were recovered or found at the scene. We currently have our investigators on scene evaluating the situation. Our forensics unit as well as has responded, make a determination how to best proceed this morning. Obviously we have a lot of rain, storms coming in, so we're going to go ahead and make a determination as to how to proceed. The FBI is also on scene as we continue to process the scene. The FBI as well as their lab will provide assistance in the coming days. It's very early in this discovery to provide any additional information that can compromise our case. We want to proceed carefully, methodically, and allow our investigators and our forensics teams to provide the information to our investigators that is necessary to proceed with this investigation. Corrections has been notified. The Anthony family has been notified regarding the developments this morning.
If we can, let's expand this panel a little bit. Over on the side over here, we have Gil Alba, who's a former detective with the New York Police Department, and John Q. Kelly, who is a former prosecutor. John, you might as well step in here as well. We just found out a short time ago that one of the witnesses on scene believes there was, in fact, some tape on the mouth of Caylee Anthony. That changes the game.
Well, sure it does. I think you'll see a superseding indictment. You'll have a capital murder charge added here. It shows that the child incurred suffering, and they'll go after her for the death penalty now. Mother or no mother, if this child suffered, it was intentional, and she, engaged in this conduct now to hide it for 6 months, I think you're going to see a new charge and a new trial.
Yeah.
Gil, we know that they are not taking the remains out of this area yet. Speak to us a little bit about what stage of the investigation they're at and what the procedure would be for removing that body and beginning this new phase of all this.
Right. To jump to already, accuse the mother, the big thing with police department and doing this investigation is to get the evidence, and this is the perfect time to get the evidence and eliminate everybody and who's left standing. So right now, to blame anybody at this point, it's kind of tough. But having taken
you have a woman accused of murder and sitting in jail with the trial date.
Yeah, but when you go to court, you say, well, maybe somebody else, because there's no direct tie with her. Hopefully, right here there will be, but please eliminate everything else, and I'm sure the police are going to do that and look for anity else. Once you do that, you zero it in, you become there, and who's left?
I don't know, John. There's a wealth of evidence against
there. May be.
I mean, we have seen the timeline. The circumstantial evidence is overwhelming in this case.
I know, but you could either have a forensic gold mine here where, we saw with Scott Peterson and Lacey, they could still get fingerprints off the masking tape after seen in the bottom of the bay for months and determine cause of death and things like that. On the other hand, you don't get any prints, you can't determine cause of death. It might look accidental, maybe there was an accomplice involved, so hopefully there is a lot of forensic evidence that can use here, and it's not mishandled or it hasn't deteriorated.
Yeah, that's what I said when we came back. This is completely a forensic story now, right? I mean, in terms of what they can find in that bag, and as you point out, any evidence that is in there is going to really tell us a lot about this story. And, when you think about Lacey Peterson, underwater for a long time, and they were able to get a lot of information there. So
sure, it's remarkable what they could do, and you might have the conversation changing now with Casey and her attorney to, you sure you dropped her off with the babysitter to now tell me again how your fingerprints are on the masking tape and why you bought this at Sears and why you're looking up chloroform and things like that.
We know she's a liar. I mean, she's lied from day one. She had the investigators at a so-called place of employment, and then after an hour there, she says, well, actually, I haven't worked here in months, I mean, she's lied all the way through this. That much we do know.
She does, but before this, there's really no connection between her and her missing child. Okay, as far as forensic evidence, this is the strongest evidence.
We know things like she backed her car up into the driveway and borrowed a shovel 2 days after the last time that the grandmother
circumstantial evidence is really, and finding the body right near her house and everything else, I think she could be found guilty, even just circumstantial evidence. What do you think, Geraldo, with that?
Well, unless the forensics are contradictory, in other words, if it is, I'm just saying, and I'm not accusing anybody, Trace, but if the fingerprint on the gaffer's tape belongs to the boyfriend, for instance, that Tony character, then it would indicate a different direction. It could be that more than one person was involved at some stage of this tragic and horrible event. But now the test will be, do the forensics match the circumstantial evidence? They had a strong circumstantial case, but ironically, unless those forensics are in sync with the circumstance, then there is still a defense.
Yeah, I just want a quick question. How often, Gil, do you see a case like this where it is only one person. One person who kills somebody, who puts them in a bag, who tapes them up, who gets rid of the body. How often?
Those are the cases, the hardest cases to work on. And there's a lot of missing persons out there that you know who killed them, but you can't prove it only because you don't have that kind of evidence.
How often when you see something like this,
Yeah.
where you find the body, you find the tape, it's buried somewhere,
Right.
was it done by a person acting completely alone?
I think she did it alone. Personally, I think she did it alone, because who would be involved in something like this? Her boyfriend or somebody else? I mean, I didn't really see her, and she's such a liar about things, and she's such a manipulator that I personally think she did this alone.
Let me just jump in here with breaking news. You see that the house right there, that is the Anthony household. We're just learning now that the Sheriff's Department in Orange County is now preparing John Q. Caylee a warrant to go back inside the Anthony home. What are they going back in looking for?
Probably everything from trash bags that might match up the one she was found in, masking tape, receipts from credit cards on things that might have been used to purchase that, you know, any other computer hard drives, things like that. I'm sure they have it already. But now that they know where the child was, how she was disposed of, how she may have, her death may have been caused, they know a little more certainly now what to focus on in the house.
Yeah, and one of the things when the police go and search the house, this is exactly what kind of information they're looking for, what kind of evidence. It's tape, bags, anything like that.
Matching outfits. You know, often parents buy the same kind of plaid, this or that, the onesies. There are other kinds of evidence that now that you have the body, they can match. But this is a major, major development. This is the beginning of the end of this case, I believe. And it's the circumstances.
We going to trial, John?
You may have a circumstantial case. It was just all her own testimony, her own statements before, to a Simpson type thing. You know, integrity of the evidence, chain of custody, DNA testing, you know, exfoliation of evidence, things like that, and who done it they may try to raise if the forensics isn't clear cut right now.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen.